But she's not.
Oh, and Fletcher might be running late. Fletcher kept talking, but his phone was breaking. Fletcher might be late.
I'm sure you're up to date on it.
Got your twin here with you tonight. Got your twin here.
That's my daughter. My other aunt. Your mini me.
You guys fix up window?
We did, we got them all. I'm just kidding.
She made her homemade chicken noodle soup. She made a few other entree items and fruit and juices and water.
What does it really think is a difference?
He's waiting for the next one.
Do you have a contract for the 1 year?
The contract for the 1 year is the renewal from 2021.
Yeah.
The 2021 contract, it's just a 1 year extended.
But we don't even have it.
I'm not sure.
Can we get copies or write that around?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Do we have enough of a quorum, or we need to wait on?
That was a long trip.
We did a long trip.
That's a little over 2 hours for me.
Well, we went to West Cap.
Oh, okay, so that's about
West
right.
Cap to 26 miles.
No, yeah. Right in the school.
Another birthday celebration. It's good to have those guests, but not when I have to go just to see how you do. Oh my God. That's the military stuff. If you're working by that time, jail for it. Cause then I don't keep getting hurt. Yeah, telling everybody else what to do. Tell us what to do.
Roberta, that's it.
Here's this one, she's making copies.
Thank you very much.
Okay, do you want to do the pledge, and Commissioner Green, would you do the prayer? Good afternoon. We're gonna start the meeting now. Commissioner Green will do the prayer, and Commissioner White will do the pledge.
Father God, we come to you first of all, thanking you for this beautiful day, for this is the day that you have made, and we chose to rejoice and to be glad in it. We thank you for our great country and city, and we thank you for this gathering on tonight. And we ask that you will continue to bless our military, those that serve in the military, and bless their families, as so many have to go away and leave their families. We ask you to continue to bless them and protect them. Lord, we ask you that you will bless our great country. And Lord, we ask you now to bless this meeting, this gathering on tonight, Lord, and let us accomplish that, that you see fit for us to accomplish. In your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ladies. Okay. I want to adopt the agenda.
Madam Mayor.
I want Commissioner Green, you want a second?
Oh, I'll second. It's only three of us up here. Okay, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Did you get that, Deanna?
All in favor? Oh my goodness, thank you for holding my hand. Okay, so any citizen comment on their motion? On their motion? Seeing none? All in favor by saying aye? Aye. So it passed 3-0. The agenda.
Do we need to excuse the mayor and Commissioner Hope until he gets here, or?
Yes.
Okay, I will make a motion to excuse both the mayor and Commissioner Hope.
A second.
So it was moved by Commissioner White, second by Commissioner Green to excuse the mayor and Commissioner Hope. Any comment on the motion? Seeing none, can I hear all in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
All opposed? So it passed 0-3. 3-0. I'm sorry, y'all. I always get nervous when I'm on the spot.
No. We voted on it, didn't we?
You voted on the motion, so next would be public comment on anything that's not on the agenda.
So the rules keep changing about what's on the agenda that we're allowed to talk about and what's not. I've asked, I think 3 times, and this is another difference. We keep switching back and forth. So hopefully this isn't what you're considering on the agenda. My name is Karen Fiore. It's been brought to my attention that the city manager on 9/17 told his staff that the citizens, meaning Karen Fiore, cut out all insurance, health insurance for the FY25 budget, and now that the employees must pay 100% of the cost. He used his power by frightening and intimidating his employees in the attempt to make himself look like the good guy. This is a straight out lie, and he's in breach of his contract by deliberately lying to his employees, spreading false information, and causing concern and unrest to his employees. This shows misconduct. In state statute 443.036 29 section B, it states in there that carelessness and negligence to a degree or reoccurrence that manifests culpability or wrongful intent or shows an intentional or substantial disregard to the employer's interests or the employee's duties of obligation to his or her employer. Per our charter, underneath the manager's duties, he must prepare and submit an annual budget message and a capital program to the commission on an annual basis. He did not do that. There was no budget message. In his budget, he his contract states that the commission may vote on a COLA per year for him. Did anyone vote for a COLA per his contract for FY25? His FY25 budget that he proposed to you shows an increase. So he was putting in a COLA without a vote from your commission. He was planning on increasing the millage rate with no explanation. Per Florida statute, it specifically states, you must state the reasons why ad valorem tax revenues are increasing. He failed to provide you with any information on why he alone was going to increase the millage rate. Florida statute also states that you must publicly announce the percent rollback rate change. He did not do that. I brought that up during that meeting, and it was finally done in the improper order. This shows that he is unable to perform his duties. The manager should voluntarily resign immediately. Additional breach in his contract is the fact that he presented an unbalanced budget to the commission, and it had a deficit. He's required to present that budget each year, like I mentioned earlier. He is an embarrassment to the city and of Archer. And as a board, I would hope that you realize that this reflects negatively on your ability to run a city by allowing such unethical business behavior from your manager. He is running a toxic environment for his employees. I'm a concerned citizen who actually is looking out for the employees and citizens of Archer by providing a manageable, more accurate budget so that the employees can perform their jobs properly and provide transparency to the citizens as how and where their tax dollars are being spent. You should not allow this to go on another day. Again, the city manager should voluntarily resign immediately. Notice I said voluntarily resign, because he is in breach of the contract. The city is not.
Madam
He
Vice
does not
Mayor, that's the
deserve
3 minutes.
1 cent of that severance pay.
Madam Vice Mayor,
Yes.
I'm gonna, I can respond somewhat
Yes.
to that and elaborate on it somewhat. Tuesday, about 1 o'clock, somewhere between 12:30 and 1, I had 3 employees show up at my door. Angry employees. They walked in my house, handed me a slip of paper, this slip of paper, and said they were made to sign it. And they were told that we, the commission, had said they would pay for their own insurance from now on. I said, that's not true. I said, and we figured, you can see where I started figuring. I said, Tony had inflated the figure somewhat, and Karen said it needed to come down by $40,000, which she yes, she did. She went, but she didn't have these numbers. She was going on these numbers. And the past numbers for that is 169, 169, not thousand, $169, $269. And yet it went up to $14,000. When I left, when I got off with those 3 men and I got them settled, I got on my computer before I called Tony. I had a letter, a distraught letter, email from another employee saying, please don't do this, Commissioner. I'll have to go look for another job. I was angry. I called Tony. I told him it was a lie, that nowhere did we say that they had to pay for their insurance. And I'm making it public right now that we never said they had to pay for their insurance. Tony said, yes, we did. I said, no, we did not. We did not. And yes, she went over, but she went back and corrected it and gave it to us. And yeah, I was angry. That's what happened on Tuesday. I called Karen. No, I texted Karen. I texted Karen and told her what happened. She looked at it and she redid and sent it, I think, to all of us. We have a balanced budget for the first time. And if she made a mistake. But she did not have the correct numbers either, that we didn't have. We didn't have those. Only Tony, I guess, had them. So that's where that letter's coming from, and I agree with every word she said.
Okay. Any other public comment? 3 minutes, please. Just 1 second, Ms. Lopez. Let me get my stop. Okay, thank you.
Roberto Lopez. I'd just like to say that I believe and I know that Karen came here because she wanted to help this commission and the city of Archer. I've known her since the day that I walked into town when I was campaigning. And she told me that she didn't vote for certain people. Not meaning that I was black or anything, it was something else, okay? And I admired that about her because she was honest. But what I'm trying to say is she's put in tremendous amount of time to try to help us to get all of this straightened out. And I agree with her. And if y'all need me to make the motion, I can do that too. That it is time for Mr. Hammond to leave. He has really put Archer in a predicament like I have never seen. And I've been here 24 years. We need to put one of those, you remember they used to post those tombstones out front? We need one more out there now. Because they said that Roberta and others fired so many managers. And believe me, if I was up there, this would have been over, I hope, long time ago. So I'm asking you to please make a motion, somebody, because we got to move forward. You talk about spending, severance pay and all that kind of stuff. You got to pay him anyway. You got to pay him anyway. So why not? And the other thing, as far as the lawyer, the attorney is concerned, all of that stuff that Karen just said, I'm wondering how that got past you. How did all of that stuff she just said, in quoting all of the state statutes and stuff, how did that happen and you're here, or whoever was here? It could have been Danielle. Did you not realize that that was going on? Thank you.
Madam Vice Mayor, if I may respond briefly. The information that we put in our resolution that was placed before you the other night is the information that's required to be included in the resolution. We were under the impression that that was the information that the commission had been informed of, that was put together by the staff. Our office has never had and does not ever have any involvement in preparing your budget, deciding your millage, or deciding what numbers are there. We simply take the numbers that were provided by staff, we put them into your resolution, and had every intention, as we do every year, of announcing, as Ms. Fiore indicated during the meeting, the percentage increase over the rollback rate.
Just 1 second. I can't get my stopwatch to work.
You ready for another comment?
Just 1 second. I gotta get my stopwatch to work.
Madam Vice Mayor, would you like me to time?
Yes,
I will
thank
do
you. Go ahead, Cindy.
All right, Cindy, accountant, whatever you want to call me. I can attest to the breakdown for the staff to know what they do, what is paid by the city for them. If, and it was if, they may have misunderstood that. It was if we were required to pay our own insurance, which was what I got out of it when I reviewed the tape, as well as what was on the paper. It says remove $44,000. That's exactly each person, it was broke down, and that's the way it was supposed to be. I was in on that, I spoke with Tony, we discussed it, I knew what mine was gonna be, what they were getting, and all of it. So if that says it's on me too, But that is truly what it costs, and they needed to be aware, because you will find that if you require, not everybody can pay that. And that was the point we were making. That's part of benefits, incentives to work here, whatever. But they needed to know how much was being paid per person, and it's different, it's not the same. So that's what I had to say about that.
Madam Mayor,
You go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay, question, Madam Mayor. I'm just wondering, why did this need to come up if we didn't say that we were taking away their health insurance? I'm just wondering, why was the need for it to come up to the staff?
The need
that a
to come
question
up
for
was
you?
because you directed me to make changes according to Karen Fiore's
List.
paper that you gave me. The first thing in there was to take $44,000 out of administration. There wasn't $44,000 on the sheet of paper I had that totaled insurance. If I take $44,000 out of there,
Somewhere
that
else
takes
on there.
away the total insurance.
Yeah,
That's my understanding
And
of
when I
what you
reviewed it-
told me to do.
it was the same kind of thing. I got the same impression out of the comments. So we just needed them to be aware, because this all goes into effect in 2 weeks. They need to be at the end of the year.
Under the general fund, under the administrative side, there was about 20-something thousand dollars for the administrative side, and there was about $18,000, I can't remember the numbers exactly, under the street side. Both of those together don't total $44,000. If I take $44,000 away, you take the insurance away. It's plain and simple to me.
Right, and that said to both of us, we both talked about it, we both reviewed it, and that's what we got out of it. Now, if it could have been clearer, the directive was clear, or maybe I had been here and understood better what you were saying, but I reviewed the tape and I didn't get anything other than the sheet. You were going by what needed to be changed.
It was my understanding that the city manager did the budget.
He did.
Okay.
It doesn't mean
I
it-
don't even need to talk to you. I need to talk to him. The budget states street salaries for insurance were $34,894 plus, where's it, 14,000. That's 48, I believe.
49,718.
When you look at, excuse me, at this budget, and you go back to 22, 23, 24, and go to that, you'll see $169, 260, I don't have it in front of me right now, $269, and now it's 14,000. What did you expect her to find? She didn't have these numbers. I'm talking to both of you.
Oh.
But,
I didn't expect her to find anything. She could have come and asked questions,
and
but
you could
did
have
she?
come to us before you went to those employees and told them that we said it. 'cause
No,
we
ma'am,
did.
I didn't have to. I did exactly what you told me to
You didn't
do.
have to, that's right, yes, you did.
It's open enrollment, everybody has to know what their insurance and everything costs anyway if they want to make changes. It is coming up, that's what we have to do, and I normally do it every year in October. It came up a couple weeks earlier because if they need to pay it, they need to know. Just like me, I would have to make arrangements to come up with $351 every 2 weeks extra. In QuickBooks. So, that brings up the other point. Tony didn't have access to the old stuff.
Why not?
Because it's in QuickBooks. He was working out of Edmonds. So, if you're going by that, look, I deal with this all day long. I have to flip-flop between 4 different things. So, I get it. So he doesn't have liabilities in there yet. And until the 30th, and if we decide to go back to Edmonds, then it'll all get switched back into Edmonds.
Madam Vice Mayor, I'm willing to move on from this, but the fact of the matter is, it was wrong. It was not true. And I don't care how you paint it. It could have come, a call could have been made to one of 5 of us, either one of 5 of us, and say, explain this. Then I would have got on the phone and said, Karen, explain this. Just like I do when I would come to you with different questions. Very same thing. You have not been here in 2 weeks. So, we were told the city manager did the budget. That's what I'm going on. When you tell those employees that they're gonna have to pay that kind of money out of a check, I'm looking at yours, $351.16. Deanna's $458.58. Bi-weekly. Yeah, I'd quit too. But there was no truth to it. None whatsoever. So I'm willing to move on, Madam Vice Mayor. On that.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. I would like to give my 3 minutes to Karen. I think she's played a key importance, and we're still working on the same subject, correct?
It's citizen comments.
Excuse me?
It's citizen comments.
Yes.
I mean, that should be addressed to the Vice Mayor.
Vice Mayor, I would like to give my 3 minutes to Karen, please.
Madam Vice Mayor, a vote by the commission would be required to allow one member to pass their time to another member of the public.
Say that again now.
You would have to have a motion and a vote to allow one member of the public to transfer their time.
Madam Vice Mayor, before I make that motion, Karen, you're not through?
No.
I have a couple more things to say to address the lies that were just.
Then I will make the motion to allow her the 3 minutes that Mr.
A second.
I can't pronounce your last name.
Okay.
That's okay.
It was, okay. Go ahead.
We'll need a vote. Sorry,
Okay.
hold on.
All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, so it passed 4-0. It was, no, what's the word I'm looking for?
Moved by Commissioner White, seconded
Motion,
by
I'm sorry,
Commissioner
I'm
Green.
sorry. It was motion by Commissioner White and second by Commissioner Green, 4-0. Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Is that ready? Karen Fiore. So quickly, the conversation around the health insurance, specifically between Commissioner Hope, he asked me specific questions. Are we cutting health insurance? I said, no. He said, is there going to be budget in there? I said, yes, it's in the salary line, you have enough. And then I specifically said, your staff is not providing you where you have your actuals. That is what the conversation, no one ever said out of this mouth or Mr. Hope that we were cutting employee insurance. The only person that said anything about, and even close to that, was the city manager when he said he's forcing them to pay 25% of their own insurance. Karen never said anything about them paying any of their insurance. Ms. White is correct, there is no actuals in 2 years in a row, and now we're told that it's in QuickBooks. Your manager said that, and you mentioned that in the past, that these actuals are up to date all the way. They are not. The last thing I want to say about the whole situation where he allowed his employees to believe that I spoke about cutting their insurance. We've seen in the media that people in power have deliberately lied and used false words to institute citizens to act out violently toward law enforcement and public servants. Is the city prepared to protect me and my family when the individuals, the employees, are irate and come to my house seeing that your manager specifically told him that Karen Fiore was the one that cut their insurance? That is not fair. Were you planning on protecting my rights? And plus, it's slander. Thank you.
Madam Vice Mayor, and I realize it's still, but I can do it, I think, right now. I'm going to make a motion that the amended budget that she produced, that we accept it. However, I'm also going to make a motion that we are not going to remove any health care from our employees.
I mean, I'll say that.
Madam Vice Mayor, is that a motion? And is it necessary as a motion when by policy?
It's necessary, since if we don't say it in a motion, the city manager may take it tomorrow.
And one, I apologize for my 13-minute late arrival, but by policy, unless we've changed the policy, they get their health insurance for the individual by personnel policy. So I don't understand why we're having to make a motion for it to continue. If it's an erroneous decision by the administrator, then that's a performance issue that I walked into talking about what he shouldn't do with his continued employment by citizens. But I want, for the record, for this dais to understand, we've not made any personnel policy change to not cover their health insurance at this time, by policy.
If I may, briefly, Commissioner White, I think what I'm hearing is more of a clarification of there was discussion, there was an initial budget that was presented to us by Ms. Fiore. There have been some amendments since then because we've gotten additional numbers. Am I saying all of this correctly? Okay. So because it's budgetary, we really should have changes to the budget made at budget hearing.
Okay.
What I think would be appropriate is clarification by consensus of this commission that the updated numbers that have now, I presume, been provided to staff. Yes?
No, I provided to the commission only.
Okay. So the commission to provide these updated numbers to staff with the clarification that under no circumstances should the health insurance be removed.
Okay. Then that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so I think that's, Tony, is that clear? You feel like you know? Cindy, you feel like you know? Okay.
I've got 4 budgets prepared based on what the mayor asked me to do. One, never had the health insurance removed, period. That was the original. The second one was if the staff wanted to pay 25% of their health care, if they wanted to pay 15% of their health care, and if they wanted to pay 10% of their health care. And I've got all 4 of them done.
Okay, but based on what we've just talked about, do you feel like you have clarification moving forward, you and Cindy, about no changes to how much of health insurance?
It's already done.
So yes, okay.
Since we're having just consensus discussion, Madam Vice Mayor, and again, if I missed this, I apologize for repeating the inquiry. From our previous meeting, when we determined that the health care expense was in the same line as the administration, not broken out, is what I remember from memory and discussion Monday evening. And in dialogue, and certainly Ms. Fiore, I don't want to put words in your mouth from me or whatever, my understanding was it was important to break out that health care in a separate line item from the administrative salary. That was the direction for us to take. If we said cut it out in a brief comment, it meant take it out of the administrative salary and have its own chart of account as a health care cost in those same areas. So then we could balance that health care cost and find exactly what it is, and whether it was in Edmonds or whether it was rectifying, going back to QuickBooks when Cindy returned, or an accountant by contract goes to determine what is that cost, and are we current with the expenses for that monthly. It would be its own chart of account line item. And both general fund and those staff that fall in that salary range, as well as in the enterprise fund. And from our budget review, it was intermixed into the salary line. It didn't have its own assigned chart of accounts. That is my understanding, and that's what, in respect to Ms. Fiore, she was trying to break out and determine what is that healthcare cost? Have we paid it? Have we not? Because actual only showed a couple $1,000s paid to date. Now, and that's all from memory. I didn't review the tape. I didn't go back in and review the Zoom meeting, but that's why we said we need to break that out and create its own chart of account based on, and especially, Cindy, what I just heard you say, because I said, I remember asking, when is the renewal of the insurance? Is it May, is it, and now you told me it's October.
Correct.
At budget beginning, so it's more important now than ever to know if there's an increase, what is that going to be, so we have that determined in the budget.
And we just recently received those numbers.
Right. Okay, thank you.
The other part is when I reviewed it, it wasn't clear, but on the sheet, it was very clear. It said remove, or I don't remember the wording exactly, $44,000 from insurance. That's what I got out of it. That's why I reviewed the tape. I was asked for Claire to look to. And that's splitting hairs, not the point. Originally, when I started here, they had the $3 per hour to buy your own health insurance. Do you remember that? That's why it was all grouped into one place. For years, we had $3 extra an hour to buy our own insurance and deal with it. And y'all don't remember that, do you? It was called the healthcare stipend. It's from the Zariah era.
I got, yeah, from attending some of the meetings, I wasn't on the diocese, but I remember
So
something.
that's how
like
it all
that.
got in one. It was already kind of not clarified anyway. Does that make sense?
Madam Vice Mayor, I believe that, and just to make sure, I think that we have the clarification and the consensus based on if there was any confusion, to the extent of remove 44,000 and keep the health insurance. To the extent there ever was any confusion, I believe it's cleared up, and your staff has indicated such.
I
Yes,
just
you
want-
have that?
Okay. Any other public comment?
I'm sorry, Madam Vice Mayor, I guess I didn't get my answer. I'm seeing the accountant staff say, I'm seeing Ms. Fiore go, from Monday evening. But Mr. Hammond, I hear you say you've got full budgets in front of you, 10, 15, 25 with the employee paying it. By policy, we pay for 100% of the individual employee. And I'm asking, can we create the chart of account to break that out of that administrative salary, each salary, and have that health care line there?
It is, that's one of the that's one of the ones that I
Yes, and it'd be 100%.
100%. That's the one that never changed.
Okay, thank you.
John, employee, when Tony called the meeting about the insurance, he never once stated that Ms. Fiore had any comment or any word in anything. And he told us that if the city were to cut it out, that's what we would have to pay. He did not say we were going to have to pay it. So it was, if it were taken away, we would have to pay.
I had 3 men that differed with that in my house, and you in my yard. 3 men said different. Tony said the commission cut their insurance, and they would have to pay this amount.
After we went back and discussed, it was said that if, big if, they were to cut it out, that's what we would have to pay. There was a misunderstanding because we were all up in roar about how we're gonna pay that much money out of our paycheck.
I don't blame you, I'd have been upset too.
So there was an if, it wasn't saying that that's what it was gonna be. Like I said, there was a misunderstanding because we were all in uproar. When you see all that kind of money, it's gonna come out of your check every 2 weeks.
I wasn't misunderstanding.
Yes, it was. No, ma'am, it was a misunderstanding.
Madam Vice Mayor, may I ask another question of Mr. Hammond, please? When you had that staff meeting regarding this is what you would have to pay if it wasn't a part of your benefits, was that the new rate that is effective October 1st, or you were, as you usually do, and tell them what the increase will be?
Yes, sir, it was the new
And the discussion
rates.
of what that benefit cost is?
Was the new rates.
It was the new rate,
New
effective
rates.
October 1st. Thank
sir.
you.
I'm going to go back to my, you're coming up, I'm going to go back to my original question, because whatever was said, it put some fear in the employees. That's because we all received an email, and somebody was saying, if I have to pay this, I can't work for the city. So whatever was said, it put fear in the employees. And I mean, we could have lost all of our employees, and then, we got to run out and find other employees. So I'm saying maybe it wasn't stated right, or maybe it was misconstrued by them, I don't know, but whatever was said, it was enough said there for each one of us to get.
I can understand.
Yeah, to get an email saying that if I have to do this, then I
I
would.
can guarantee you that I did tell them that if this is what would happen if you had to do this. I did not tell them this is what you are going to pay this year.
I still have a question though, as to, I still don't understand why it needed to be discussed with them just yet, because we really haven't
Because
even voted on the budget.
that was my understanding, and I
Okay.
was hoping that once you looked at what was going to see the numbers reflected, that you would change your mind with it. But I also went back through the budget, and when I made the changes in the personnel side that you directed me to change, like Calvin going to streets and water, and moving Cindy and Deanna back into administration, it changed the numbers drastically. And it changed them in positive ways. And it wasn't really need to change anything as far as the insurance goes.
I know, so that's why I can't understand why the discussion was needed with the employees.
Because from my
point.
side, you told me to do it. That's the way I saw it.
Well, it sounds like it put some fear in there, so that's, I don't know, I'm still, and I guess I understand, but, I guess I understand and I don't understand why it had to be.
I can understand.
Why that was, yeah. And I think that's where the confusion comes in, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Brett Fiore, and I agree with you, whether it was ignorance or intentional, that could have had catastrophic results. I'm thankful that a group went to Joni's house and she was able to diffuse it and was able to, and had insight on it, because that could have been, we have seen it in the last few years, all throughout our country, where you have somebody in power giving orders, whether ignorant or intentional, that have set off a course of events that have incited people to do some horrific things. And this is the liability that you all are signing off on. He needs to resign tonight.
That's right.
Good evening, Vice Mayor. So there's something called normalcy bias. When you tend to minimize things when they're breaking all around you because it happens so much that you just get used to it. So I think that, it would be good to just take a step back and take a look at how things work normally and kind of step away from dysfunction so that you can appreciate again and stop minimizing things that really need to be recognized and really need to be decided on. I don't know if you've ever worked at an organization where they have told you, if we increase something by 50%, this is what you're going to get to pay, especially benefits. Like, I don't ever remember any organization ever telling me, well, we're still thinking about the budget, but if it's 50% personal contribution, this is what you're going to pay. But we don't know yet, but be prepared, because yes, that would be intimidation. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Can I ask, when was the meeting held with the staff? Oh, Tuesday, so right after, okay.
Okay.
Sarah Brannon. I have been here since I was 9 years old, and I'll be 80 next month. I used to be like a piece of furniture here with the meetings. I was here all the time until this man came. I've come in and try to talk to him, and he act like you're getting on his nerves. We're not getting codes enforced down there in our area of Archer. at one time, that trailer has been moved now, but at one time, I wouldn't let my grandchildren out in the yard to play because of the snakes crawling from back there. I think if we're gonna have a manager, we should have somebody who at least care about the citizens or what the citizens feel are living through here in Archer. Now, I remember I came in here several times and the city hall was smelling like a dog pen. I seen the lady who collect the water bill money cleaning up the urine behind the dog. That's not what we pay that lady for. I've seen so much abuse down here in City Hall since this man been here till I stopped coming. Even sometime to pay my water bill, I would send it. Something need to be done if you care anything about Archer. And you must care, at least you want me to think you care because you're sitting up there behind the podium. Do something about this man here, like get rid of him.
Okay. Any more public comments?
We have public comment online.
Oh. I don't know how we can get it.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, in order to read a public comment that was allowed, you would have to let me know if you'd like to waive the rules. Generally, the rule is that you have to be present either online or in person to give a comment. I have it here. I can read it if you would like. But it's up to you all to waive the rules if you decide that. Otherwise, it can just be provided to the commission.
If somebody had a comment online, they must have really wanted it said, so I'm willing to waive the rule.
I second that, Madam Vice Mayor.
Yes.
All in favor of reading the comment online, by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So it passed 4-0.
Madam Vice Mayor, this is an email from Mr. William E. Lewandowski. Dear Commissioners, I am writing to express my deep disappointment and concern regarding the recent actions of the City Manager. Please consider this email as my public comments for the Emergency Special City Commission meeting scheduled for September 19th, 2024. At the September 16th, 2024 Special City Commission meeting, the City Manager presented a tentative budget that was riddled with errors and, for all intents and purposes, useless and legally insufficient. This was not a case of budget documents that needed some minor tweaking and adjustments. These documents needed to be completely scrapped in favor of those provided by Karen Fiore. Our city is fortunate that Ms. Fiore volunteered her time and effort to present to you a proper, balanced budget and volunteered to work with you to make any adjustments. In my opinion, the city manager's poor work product on just this item alone would be justification enough for any properly functioning board under similar circumstances to dismiss a chief executive. It has been reported to me that on September 17th, 2024, the city manager had a meeting with city employees and told them that the budget proposed by Karen Fiore and adopted by the city commission the evening before eliminated the city's current contributions for employees' health care insurance. I was at the entire City Commission meeting on September 16th, and today I rewatched the entire recording and reread Karen Fiore's proposed budget. It does not eliminate the city's current system of contributions for employee health insurance, nor was that recommended by Ms. Fiore during that commission meeting. It is unclear whether the city manager's actions in this regard were the result of not being capable of correctly understanding and processing Ms. Fiore's proposal, if he was acting based on ill intent, or a combination of both. Regardless, the result was the same. In my opinion, the city manager's actions wrongly caused employees to think that Ms. Fiore had recommended and that the commission had approved, significantly reducing employee earnings. It truly is hard to imagine any properly functioning governing board tolerating a chief executive weaponizing employees against it and shareholders, in this case citizens, by providing employees false information. I have been the board chair of a for-profit corporation and a board member of a large international nonprofit corporation. It is my considered opinion, based on my experience, that the city manager should be immediately suspended while the city expeditiously conducts an investigation into the two situations I've described below. Sincerely, William E. Lewandowski.
Any other public comments?
Madam Mayor, this is an email from Mr. William E. Lewandowski. Dear Commissioners, I am writing to express my deep disappointment and concern regarding the recent actions of the City Manager. Please consider this email as my public comments for the Emergency Special City Commission meeting scheduled for September 19th, 2024. At the September 16th, 2024 Special City Commission meeting, the City Manager presented a tentative budget that was riddled with errors and, for all intents and purposes, useless and legally insufficient. This was not a case of budget documents that needed some minor tweaking and adjustments. These documents needed to be completely scrapped in favor of those provided by Karen Fiore. It is unclear whether the city manager's actions in this regard were the result of not being capable of correctly understanding and processing Ms. Fiore's proposal, if he was acting based on ill intent or a combination of both. Regardless, the result was
Okay. So, thank you all for your comments. So now, we're going to old business, right? Okay, so now we're gonna go to old business, accountant discussion and recommendations.
Madam Vice Mayor, I reached out to Caleb and he gave me Richard Powell from Powell and Jones, who at one time did our audits. Bob from, Dan, I gave you those names, didn't I? I forgot his names. He's a CPA with another firm. He had my information, was supposed to get back with me, but didn't. And then today, I talked to somebody from, I think it's Richard and White, and she said that they were really tied up right now and didn't know that they could get to it to do it. So that's what I have. I believe Ms. Fiore also offered to come in and look at it and see what she could do. But that was just an offer to see what she could do. So that's where we're at.
I was asked by Commissioner Hook to contact the county. The county cannot provide any assistance in this area.
So, what was the first name you gave?
Richard Powell, he did our audit many years ago. Richard Powell, he did our audit many years ago. And he has retired. He's no longer a partner with Powell and Jones. So they're not auditing their own work. But he's doing CPA and bookkeeping, accounting on a part-time basis. But
He's freelancing. He's doing it when he can.
well, he just said that it was, I believe, on a part-time basis. But like I said, the other one never got back to me. So
Madam Vice Mayor, this is a question for legal counsel. Will we not have to advertise for this as we have this discussion this evening?
We do not have to advertise for, I'm sorry.
A contractual relationship for an accounting
Yes, in order to
assistant?
procure these services,
It would
ultimately,
have to be
yes.
advertised as we
Yes.
discuss this evening.
Yes.
even as an emergency situation, because, I mean, our audit's got to get done.
If we put sufficient information on actually, let me rescind that. We're talking about auditing and accounting. Because we're talking about that, there are specific statutory procedures which are outside of our emergency procurement.
Then we need to do that right now. I mean, that needs to be done because our audit is got to get done.
Madam Vice Mayor, I make a motion that we advertise for the accountant services to assist us to complete the transition and/or go back to the QuickBooks and validate that with the scope of with that scope of service being detailed.
I'll second it, but I'm going to quote what Caleb said. We need to reconcile our accounts so that our records are correct.
I will amend my motion to include the reconciliation, the complete reconciliation of bank statements for this period of through current.
I'll second it.
Any public comment? Sorry, any public comment on the motion? Oh,
Should always ask the commissioner first question.
okay. Any commission questions on the motion?
Hold on just a minute. Yeah.
Roberto Lopez, did I hear you correctly, Commissioner, when you said that the Powell that's already retired is maybe willing to help us out? I worked with him for many years, I do not recommend it.
Madam Vice Mayor, for clarification, we're putting this out for advertisement at this time only.
Question. I know that we came up with this the other night because, I believe Cindy was out sick. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you up in the
I
mic,
came
I'm
up
so
after you.
sorry. Oh, okay. This came about because she was out sick and couldn't get it done.
This came about because she has put off the auditor every 2 weeks since July.
Okay, so,
And they're waiting on the general fund to come in and do the audit.
Right.
They can't do it until Cindy says she's ready, and she has not been ready.
right. So are we able to ask her if she's ready yet?
No, it's not.
Still not ready, so we definitely got to hire somebody. Okay.
Karen Fiore, I just wanted to extend my services again. I'm willing to help with staff, sit next to the person, pull the reports, try to reconcile, finish your bank statements. This, I can't say enough, this is only a $1.3 million budget. This is not a lot. You have very few employees. There's no reason why this can't be cleaned up in a very fast manner. And again, I'm willing to offer my services. I'm not asking for anything in return.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay. My question is, can we do that?
Can you do what?
Ask for her services, or do we need to hire someone?
I was just going to say, I will get you to the point where you have that auditor come in and you're able to hand that information over to, is what I was trying to get to. I'm not going to audit your work by any means.
No, but I'm asking, can we get a public citizen to do that? Is that legal? Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. The procurement is only when there's money changing hands, unless we plan to pay Ms. Fiore for her work. The procurement won't be an issue there.
Karen, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry. Karen, don't you work 5 days a week?
I technically work
Since you're
longer
working
than
for the
that.
city too, but.
I do work for the city. This would have to be after hours, but I would make time. I would take vacation time if I needed to come in for time. You don't understand that you haven't been able to provide your citizens for 3 years actuals. This is serious. And then for your staff to just act like making statements like, we're always broke at the end of the year, you know this. What? What is that? Or we don't know where our actuals are because our liabilities are in, receivables are not in the system. This is the 12th month. You have a few days left of fiscal year 2024, and you have zero idea on your financials for more than 2 years. It's a train wreck.
Stay there, please.
Yeah.
Give me your experience, please.
Sure. I was 10 years as finance director for the Gainesville Area Chamber of Commerce. Then I moved over to the city of Gainesville, and I performed as a budget manager there for about $350 million budget. I've since about, I guess, over 2 years now, been working on the GRU side as their economic rates manager over there.
Thank you,
And
Karen.
I take care of a lot of their budgetary needs as well, and their $1.2 billion of debt.
There's a lot more she's leaving out also.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I was at 15 years, I worked for a private organization doing their books as well.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
we don't have a motion on the floor, do we?
We had.
Brenda Skinner, citizen. I just want to remind everybody, and I'm sure you all remember this, is that this is the money of the citizens of this town that we're talking about. And a lot of people that I've been talking about are really wondering, where's our money going? What's going on with it? Who knows what's going on with it? And if we've got somebody like Karen, who knows what she's doing, who's willing to help us on a volunteer basis to come in. If I were sitting in Cindy's seat right now, I've been there. I've been an administrative assistant for many, many, many years. And when something happened that was over my head, because some program threw me, I was willing to take somebody's help who knew a little bit more than I did to help me out. So if we've got somebody who can do that, I'd say, let's take the help, welcome the help, and let's see if we can't get this straightened out so we can go forward from here.
Lisa Conde, resident, there is no reason why we should not be able to compensate Karen for all the time that she has put in. I know she said volunteer, but that's real work and that's real talent. So, you know, we pay for other, so why not pay her?
Because we'd have to put it out for bid and RFP, right? RFP.
Madam Vice Mayor, for clarification, we have a motion on the floor to advertise for an accountant to assist and complete the reconciliation. At this time, we're having full discussion about another matter that's being offered by a volunteer. That may create a second motion or opportunity for what the citizens are coming up and speaking to us about. But at this point, we have a motion and a second to validate, as in respect to Ms. Fiore, she said, this would be something she would just assist our accountant with to make sure this gets completed so it could be properly audited by a contracted, advertised, and approved CPA.
Madam Mayor, my question then is if we put it out for bid, we've got to leave it out at least 2 weeks, right? It's got to be at least 2 weeks.
Minimum.
Now, what if we used Karen and she did get it? I'm just saying, Commissioner, I understand, and she did get it in a short time, get it reconciled. Then could we say we don't need them?
Yes, even after bids come in on these kinds of things, you're not obligated to pick one.
Okay. That's what thank you,
Madam
ma'am.
Vice Mayor, that's my point I'm trying to make, to move this process forward
Okay, I've got it.
expeditiously this evening.
Got it.
Can we, okay, before we go into a vote, can we, like myself personally, don't see a need for a bid, so just not vote on the bid? If, since it's on there, since the motion is out there? Okay, all right.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, I'll do some research if I can find a faster way to do it without bid. I'm assuming that you all would want me to do that.
Ask the question before you vote, real quick.
We'll go as fast as we humanly can.
When you brought up the special meeting months ago, you guys voted already on having an additional, do you remember that? Caleb mentioned it, and you talked about having the forensic, and then he said it was part of it. I don't know, you might go back and ask Deanna to pull that, because y'all did talk about having an additional to reset up the new system.
Caleb was going to determine whether he had to go beyond the financial statement audit and
That's
go
right.
into forensics.
But I thought you guys voted to approve that part
We
of it.
did not. We
Okay.
just said we would wait on his financial statement audit results and then make a determination. I'm sorry, but that's the direction and the process that we were speaking of.
All in favor of the motion by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so 3-1.
Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, I'm going to make a motion that we accept Karen Fiore's offer to come in and see if she can reconcile. Good luck.
Madam Vice Mayor, just as a point of order, we had a citizen say, what was the motion? So would you like me to speak about the motion again?
Yes, sir.
that we just passed. Apparently citizens did not, a citizen did not understand the motion.
Okay.
Is that what you asked, Ms. Lopez? I heard your voice.
What I wanted to do was make it a clarification.
Clarification of the motion.
Yes, because
I'm more than willing to do that, Madam Vice Mayor. Would you like me to do
Yes,
that
sir.
again? And then the second can determine what, bless you.
Sir, go ahead.
The motion was to proceed with appropriate advertising with the scope of service being reconciliation of, up through our current system of bank accounts and our actuals at this time, which would be reviewing reconciliation if it was already done, or a determination to not need that if it all balances. But that's the motion that I made.
Okay.
And that takes at least 2 weeks.
Now, my motion
I lost a
is,
little track of that motion.
And that was the that was the second,
Sir.
with the same thing, Commissioner White?
I made the motion to accept Karen Fiore's,
No, we're still clarifying, that's why she's standing up here. Apparently, it's not clear, or she wants to make comment on that, but is that appropriate for this, your second? And me clarifying the first, to move forward with the advertising, thank you.
Okay, you're gonna move, Roberta Lopez, Madam Vice Mayor. You're gonna move forward with, doing your motion, but in the meantime, where does Karen fit in?
We were just getting to that. That was the motion that was
the
made.
motion we just passed.
Okay,
To begin the advertising that's necessary
Right.
to accomplish the reconciliation review
Right.
by an outside certified contracted CPA.
okay,
In respect to Ms. Fiore, she's already admitted that she's not that person, but certainly could internally prepare that for that.
okay, I see.
And now
She's
we're
gonna be
going into
getting
the
that-
Karen Fiore citizen, dedicated volunteer to offer her
I got it.
services.
I
You
got
got it?
Yep.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor.
Madam Vice Mayor, once again, I am making a motion to accept Karen Fiore's offer to come in to do her best to reconcile our accounts and make sure our records are straight. If she can do it to where the audit can take place, then we will not do the CPA.
A second.
Madam Mayor, discussion or clarification? Does that motion and that second include working with our accountant staff and providing additional knowledge and information to make that happen?
As long as she can do that in a non-hostile environment.
That's what she offered anyway.
I fully understand that, but the motion doesn't include that, and so I felt and heard that between motioning of Cindy and Ms. Fiore saying working with her, but if, and looking at the current problems that are happening, is that what I hear? I'm sorry, either party, both parties, I want to make sure that that's the actions that's going to happen, so you can dive in and find out what's happening with this transition and why it's not working.
Yes, we'll both be professional, and it will not be confrontational, and we'll report on anything, any findings.
As a team,
As a team.
as a team, I'm just
And then
asking,
if
is
I'm
that?
able to, yeah, absolutely. And then if I'm able to provide some help showing her how to pull reports and things like that, I'm not saying I'm a miracle worker, but if I'm able
That's
to,
what I do.
we'll put down some procedures where step by step so that you guys have that.
Thank you, Ms. Fiore. And Cindy, you're as well? I mean, just as, and again, Ms. Skinner's the one that stepped up and said, hey, I would accept help sometimes with the transition in the system, and that's the approach that I hope we would make as a team effort to get this going, and then hi-ho with whoever we advertise to make sure the reconciliation is correct. And Madam Vice Mayor, for the motion maker, is that your intent? Okay. And would you be willing to add to that motion, or is that going to be an additional motion that for the hours spent, we reimburse Ms. Fiore for her PTO allotted time that she's utilizing from her job, or is that an issue legal?
I'm not confident that we can provide any amount of compensation without competitive procurement
Okay. And
of
that,
services.
I'm just asking it before the motion's made, so
We'll buy you a gift card for dinner at Cracker Barrel.
You're not allowed to
Not
give gifts
allowed
like
to
that,
do
so
that.
take that off the record.
Yeah.
No, the compensation is not necessary, I'm a volunteer, thank you.
Thank you.
that's all I have, Madam Vice Mayor.
Motion by Commissioner White and second by. Okay. Any other dais comment? Any other citizen comment? Any other commissioner comment? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
All opposed?
Aye.
Who's coming in
separately.
Saying no, nay.
I just want to say thank you to Miss Fiore for taking that on, and her and Cindy being able to work together on that, because it's all for the betterment of our city. So we appreciate you all so much.
So we can move on. Okay, second on.
Microphone, please. Microphone.
Oh, y'all know I get nervous quickly. Okay, and second on the agenda is the city manager contract.
Madam Vice Mayor, my office was asked to take a look at let me rephrase. My office was asked to take a look at if and when there had ever been a provision regarding where the city manager must live, if there had been a provision regarding that, when that provision was taken out. And so what I have for you is essentially, it's pretty simple. There have only been 3 contracts that your city manager has operated under. There was one signed in 2018 when Commissioner, and I'm not sure if you have those up on the dais with you, when the city manager came in 2018, there was a provision in his contract which was labeled, and I don't want to misread it. Moving and relocation expenses. Inside that paragraph, there were 2 subparagraphs. The first one indicated that the employee, so your city manager, shall establish residence within the corporate boundaries of the city of Archer within 6 months, and thereafter maintain a residence within the corporate boundaries of the city or within a 15-mile radius of the city. So that's the first sub-provision. The second sub-provision is the city will reimburse the employee for moving and real estate transaction expenses not to exceed $5,000 upon receipt of duly executed expense receipt or statement. The employee shall be responsible for payroll taxes related to the moving allowance. So just as a reminder that if you're looking at the contract, that's paragraph 12. It's between health insurance and expectation of work hours, and it's titled moving and relocation expenses. The next contract that you all signed with your city manager was in May of 2021. In May of 2021, it is the exact same contract, with the exception that that paragraph, moving and moving expenses, is removed. By removing that paragraph, and again, I wasn't the one sitting up here, I can't tell you why it was done, I can't tell you who did it, I'm not sure. What I can tell you is that entire paragraph is missing, which it would not shock me to learn that relocation and moving expenses paragraph was taken out in full without a consideration for what was in that second subparagraph, because it was all moving and relocation expenses. Because your city manager would have already been established here, it wouldn't surprise me that that's the reason, but I can't tell you that that is the reason. I wasn't here to be able to give you that context, but I can tell you that that is when it was removed, when the second contract was signed. So that's what I was asked to present, and that's what I have for you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
very clear on them.
But, okay, go ahead.
To find out, but I guess they would have to go way back on the records. I'm sorry. I guess they would have to go way back on records, some of the meetings to find out why was that removed, because, like I said, with previous city managers, they always had to live really close to the area. And I don't know who was on the dais at that time, but I don't know. They have to go way back on the minutes to see why they removed that or why.
We didn't remove that.
You all did not?
We agreed to it
Okay.
because, and I'll tell you, I'll give you mine, my bad excuse. If you look at the contract, the first one and the second one, the first 2 pages are exactly alike. Then you get to the vacation and sick leave, and that's when it changed also on that. Then you get to, down at the bottom, the moving and relocation. Health insurance, retirement is still there. But those 2 items were taken out. I didn't read it, apparently, or I didn't realize when I did read it that that was missing. I didn't until this past year. When I looked at the new contract, I realized that was missing, and that the vacation and sick leave had changed. For that, I apologize. That's on us. It's on us because it happened. Tony said, when this first came up, that Cindy changed the vacation rate and the sick leave, and that Deanna changed the moving and relocation. Why Deanna would change moving and relocation is beyond me, and I don't buy it.
Madam Vice Mayor, if I could just, again, speak to that based on what was shared by legal. The initial contract was for the initial relocation and expenses for moving to set he or she in place. That was why that was in there. When we renewed his contract, that was taken out because he's already relocated within the parameters of the 15-mile radius, and that's still in there.
No, it's not still.
It's not.
The 15-mile radius
No.
was removed as
The
well.
whole thing is
The
The whole thing was removed, that's what I'm
Okay.
telling you. And Deanna's got no reason to take it out, she's not moving with him.
And again, I'm sorry, but the intent was that he'd already relocated. And I
That's
think it was an
not- yeah,
oversight
I
for
would
us.
agree with you if that was the
If
case.
we didn't, it is on us, because if we didn't review that
On
we
us.
spoke about it, but
got one
not
on us
about
on
the 15-mile radius, because he was already in the inner city, so.
The only thing I'm going to say about it, if Charlie had not kept threatening for 6 months to sell that house out from under me, I would still be here. Moving to Fernandina is where I'm going to retire at. It's where I was born and raised at. It has no impact on me getting to work on time. If I leave here at 1 o'clock in the morning and you drive back to Fernandina, so what? I did it the other day. Yes, I did take off and not come to work the following Tuesday after I had been here for 18 hours. But I took a vacation day. It is not going to have an impact on my work here. I leave there at 6 o'clock in the morning and I get here between 8 and 8:15 every day. That contract, Cindy made the changes to the leave and vacation. That contract was given to Scott. Scott drafted that contract.
That's not what he said.
Scott sent that contract back.
Scott who?
Scott Walker, the attorney.
You were on that phone. I'm sorry. That's not what I was told. But you were on the phone call with me and Danielle that day, weren't you, when I was discussing it?
I believe so.
And that the attorney's office had not seen those contracts until Scott signed it.
So that was the 2024 revision.
Okay.
Is what we were discussing that day.
Okay. But
So I
My
can't speak to
understanding
whether
is-
or not,
that they did not draft that contract.
what I can tell you is that the 2018 contract and the 2021 contract are almost identical, except for the two provisions that we've discussed. I will say that it's likely that my office drafted the 2018 contract.
Right.
And likely that my office saw the 2021 contract, but I can't speak to whether or not we made the revisions to the 2021 contract.
That was my understanding. I'm sitting here, Commissioner Hope has the document that was given to Deanna, telling her, from the city manager, telling her to keep it the same except for those two items. Am I correct? Madam Vice Mayor, as they read that?
Has this been read to the public for record?
No.
Before me is an email from Deanna Altop, Thursday, September 19th, 2024, 6:09 a.m. The subject, manager contract renewal and annual performance evaluation, and attachments of the Archer employment contract for Hammond 5/10 of 2021 document, and the manager's annual evaluation for 2020 to 2021.
I don't think that's an email from Deanna, that's an email
It
from
was
Charles Hammond.
originally sent,
It's a forward.
it's a forward, and now it's from Charles Hammond, Monday, April 26, 2021, 10:16 a.m. to City of Archer Commission, Scott Walker, Andrea True, Richard Maltby. Subject manager contract renewal and annual performance evaluation. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Commissioners, please find attached two documents. Document 1 is proposed renewal of manager contract. It is the same as the original contract with the exception that the paragraph that referred to moving and relocation expenses has been removed. The salary reflected is the current rate, and the vacation and sick hours reflected are the current rate earned. The second document is the annual performance evaluation. Please review and provide grade and comments to the attorney by 5/5/2021 so they can prepare a composite of all grades and remarks to present at the 5/10/2021 meeting. Regards, Charles Hammond.
Madam Vice Mayor, if I may, specifically, document 1 is proposed renewal of manager contract, same as the original with the exception that the paragraph that referred to moving and relocation expenses has been removed. That language indicates to me that that paragraph was removed with the understanding, without really parsing through the second paragraph of the first sub-paragraph of that section, which is the only place that it mentions the requirement that he remain within the city or within the 15 miles because of the heading, and because there wasn't, that's what that leads me to believe. Again, I can't tell you that that's what happened, but this document does sort of confirm that for me.
The fact that that document was done in 2021, Mr. Squires, to my knowledge, did not. I didn't start hearing about selling the house until this year. Which, I mean, however, I do know that Mr. Hammond put his application in Fernandino last year and this year.
Can I please say something?
Madam Vice Mayor, just as a point of order, because there isn't a motion on the floor at this time, you all would need to open up, either make a motion or separately open up for public comment on this issue, because right now it's just a discussion.
Need a motion to do that.
Okay.
Well, because this discussion, the city manager brought him into it, and then I brought him into it, I will make the motion to allow him to speak to it.
I second.
Okay, so originally, my mother had rented the house to
I
Mr.
apologize,
Hammond.
there needs to be a vote
Oh,
on the
I'm
motion.
sorry.
We have a motion and a second.
Oh,
Okay. So, all in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
All opposed? So 4-0, go ahead.
Okay, so originally, when Mr. Hammond came to Archer, he rented the home for my mother, who passed away in 2020. She passed the property on to me. She had set the rental rate at $600 for quite some time, and then she raised it to $800. When she passed away, I inherited the house. I kept that rate as it was for, I don't recall how many years, but it became obvious to me last year that $800 a month to rent a 2-bedroom house in a safe, quiet community was unrealistic, and that it wasn't sustainable for me financially to stay at that rate. So I informed Mr. Hammond that if I did not raise the rent, I would be forced to sell the home. I, in fact, did raise the rent to $1,100, which by current standards is very, very cheap for a 2-bedroom home. When the batch plant came into the public light, I informed Mr. Hammond that if the CUP were to pass, that my wife and I would be selling the property due to the fact that my property value would go down very quickly. Mr. Hammond gave me a letter on the 13th of August stating that he was moving. His move-in date was the 9th of September. He vacated the premises on the 1st. So I did not cause him to move. I did not threaten him in any way. I just told him that financially I could not afford to keep him as a tenant at $1,100 a month. Raising it $300 at $1,100 a month is what? 1% of his monthly or annual salary? It wasn't that drastic. I was just simply trying to make ends meet on my side to be able to afford to keep the house with insurance, property taxes, pest control, lawn maintenance, and everything else that goes around with it. Maintenance on the home, repairs that are needed. $1,100 is unrealistic. Or $800 is unrealistic. $1,100 is still borderline. But to reiterate, I didn't at no time threaten to sell the house. I explained to him in plain English that it was no longer feasible to rent for that amount of money, so I raised it to $1,100. The only time I threatened to sell the house was when the CUP came up for debate or vote. I guess he decided early on, before the actual meeting for the CUP, he decided that it was going to go through, and therefore he left. I don't know, that's just my opinion. But anyway, thank you.
Sorry, Charlie, bad choice of words.
I could say the same.
Any other public comments at this time? Yeah, Ms. Ford.
since we're talking about his contract, I think it's a perfect time, Karen Fiore for the record, to address what was mentioned earlier on during public comment this afternoon. And, I mean, we made very good points on how he is in breach of his contract, yet I didn't hear anyone up here say any motion to terminate, or actually, we don't want to terminate because the contract is so poorly written. We want him to voluntarily resign because he does not deserve any extra pay besides the 30 days that's in his contract.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
are we through with the city manager contract, this part? Commissioner Hope, are you through with this part of the city manager's contract?
The reviewing of the contracts, I've never seen the one-year extended contract.
Yeah, that's what I was
That's what
gonna ask for.
we agreed to extend the 21
The
contract.
current 21 for one
For one
additional
year.
year. Okay, thank you.
That's
Just
good.
for clarification.
Now,
And that's in October for next month, did we say?
no, that's in May.
May
For
of this
1 year.
year, past year, 24 to May 1st of 2025.
Now, this is going to take a minute, Madam Mayor. I have served this city for 30 years, 16 and a half as a commissioner, with a 12-year in between that on the Code Board. I love this city. This is my home. I would serve it today if I wasn't sitting up here. I have served under a few city managers. I had the opportunity to serve under the best, Tilly Davis. And it gave me an idea of what a city manager should be. I can also say now I've served under the worst. I have never, in the years that I have served, seen our city in the shape it's in. I have never seen us not be able to do an audit, a budget, have $29,000 in our bank account. I have never seen, I'm appalled at what we have let get by us.
All right.
And that's our fault, and I apologize. I am so sorry. It's wrong. And for that reason, I'm going to make a motion to terminate his contract, effective immediately, with no severance until we go through the Florida statute on misconduct, because I believe there's enough there to get out of that severance. So if it means going to court to do it, that's what we'll do, but without the severance. That's my motion.
If I may, just briefly. If you take a look at paragraph 3 of the contract, termination severance pay, I think that what you're talking about is included in subsection G. Subsection G says the employee, so that's your city manager, may be removed from his position with cause at any time by a majority of the full commission at any regular meeting of the commission. If the employee is terminated with cause, the employee shall not be eligible for payout of accrued leave time.
Yeah, but see, but he is eligible for, I'm sorry. But he is eligible for severance, the 16 weeks of severance. Now, if you go to paragraph B of that Florida statute, he can be terminated for misconduct. And I believe that the case can be made for several articles in the misconduct statute.
So, okay, the only tweak that I'll make to that is that if you read, so paragraph B says, in the event the employee is formally charged with a felony or any crime involving dishonesty or moral turpitude, or terminated for misconduct, as defined in Florida statute, the city's obligation to pay severance sum designated in this paragraph is terminated. If the employee is then convicted of a felony or any crime involving dishonesty or moral turpitude, the city shall have no obligation to pay the severance sum designated in the paragraph. So I would request additional time to figure out how those read together, because I'm not quite sure, if I'm being honest with you, what the difference is between the first and the second sentence.
And I understand what you're saying, but I'm looking at, he can be or terminated for misconduct. I'm looking at that or.
No, I agree with you.
And then it says, then the city's obligation to pay the severance in this paragraph is terminated. Now, he would have to go to court to get, I'm not an attorney, and I didn't sleep at Holiday Inn last night. However, it does say that the right to severance pay shall be the employee's sole remedy under this contract, which means it could go to court and he could only ask for his severance. Am I clear on that?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So my motion is, that's my motion, to terminate him effective immediately. Now, the only question I have is, can he be terminated without the full commission?
For misconduct, yes.
Okay.
For cause is no. So if you're saying it's under misconduct, which to be honest with you, I would need to
I
do
know.
an evaluation to give you a legal opinion on misconduct.
I know. I brought it with me. Well, no, I didn't. I had Deanna put it at each of our desks.
I also would be very remiss to tell you that I could give you a sound legal opinion with a couple of minutes to make a
I know.
determination.
I have it somewhere. Deanna, oh, it's part of the packet that you got on the desk. And if you go to 29, and I believe I can make the case, to 29, A is conduct demonstrating a conscious disregard of an employer's interest and found to be a deliberate violation or disregard of the reasonable standards of behavior. Well, if he hasn't proven that, I don't know what. But I will go on to B. And if you read it, it's, I mean, he has ignored us for 4 years. We have tried to get things done, and he's saying, I'll take care of it, and they don't get done. D is a willful and deliberate violation of a standard or regulation, license, anyway, which violation will cause the employer to be sanctioned or have its license or certification suspended by this case. At the last meeting, Mr. Lewandowski stood up there and showed you from the state where we were delinquent on our reports. On reports. And we're being fined since June for it. I believe it's June. If that doesn't meet that, I don't know what will. There was one other one in here. I believe that, yeah, I believe there's misconduct. And if I have to spell it out in a letter, that's what I'll do, but I believe there's been misconduct, and we have a good case of misconduct for the last 5 years.
What I will say is that generally speaking, in misconduct cases, one of the requirements is written warnings. Oftentimes, that's one of the things that is a stumbling block. And these, I don't know if there have been any written warnings. I couldn't tell you sitting here on the dais today if there's been any written correspondence regarding this is a warning regarding your behavior. Verbal warnings have been routinely held to be insufficient alone without written. So I'm just telling you what the case law is in the area. I'm not telling you that you can or can't vote on it. What I'm saying is I'm not confident sitting up here that I have the information to support or deny that there's been misconduct or that we'd be successful or unsuccessful in a case. I simply don't know, is what I'm telling you. It's certainly your prerogative.
I also believe if you go to past evaluations, it would probably show a warning, not a warning, but some dissatisfaction.
Very well may. I just don't know.
I make the motion.
So y'all get another second on that one?
I'm reading through these real quick.
Okay.
I'll second for the sake of discussion.
Any other discussion now? Commissioner?
I was trying to look through this, better understand this. You just,
Discuss.
I heard what Commissioner White was saying, and then I heard what the lawyer was saying. So let me understand correctly. When you're talking about the misconduct or like a warning or, you know, like you said, you can go back through some of the evaluations, we would have had to give some type of verbal warning or written warnings. I know at the last, back in May, and we're continuing with this contract, and I know it was, and we extended it a year based on if the city manager was fulfilling his duties as we required. So I'm just wondering, based on that, what she was saying, and we extending that year and for another year. I mean, I guess I'm asking, what does that leave us? I mean,
Is your question, just to see if I have it correct, is your question what is the legal impact of us having stated the concerns and then renewed the contract?
mhm.
I think that it's a very fact-specific analysis. I'm not prepared to tell you today. I mean, so real-time analysis, there could be an argument that that was a verbal warning. Verbal warnings are generally considered to be insufficient for misconduct charges, except in extreme situations. So there could be an argument made that that was verbal, and then in addition to that, you all extended the contract. There could also be an argument made, because this is a open public meeting with minutes that are recorded and that kind of thing, that it's more than just a verbal warning. I honestly, I can't tell you. I wish I had more answers for you. I wish I'd been able to do an analysis prior to being asked these questions. I don't want to tell you something that's not correct or give you an impression that I have a clear understanding of where this would land in a courtroom, because I just don't.
I truly do.
No, go ahead.
and I understand, I understand you're looking out for our welfare. However, I think he's been given a few warnings. Now, have they been in writing? No, probably. I don't know, other than the evaluations. However, I've talked to him in his office several times. Up here, I have shown my disgust for the last 6 months. Did I tell him, I'm gonna fire you? No. As a matter of fact, I said, and I'm quoting, I don't want to fire anybody. I want them to do their job. However, we've got a city full of people with maybe 5% that have no confidence in him. They have no confidence in us. And I'm telling you something, I beat myself up over this, and so I understand. I want that confidence back. And I'm not going to get it back as long as he's sitting next to me.
And Commissioner White, just to clarify, I don't object to anything. I'm not saying that any of that is untrue. Just to clarify.
I appreciate what you said.
I guess my next question is, so even though we're in that time frame to May 1st of next year, that time that we extended, but due to the situation that the city is in, and I just, as I said to our city manager before.
The air conditioner's messed up. It's broke.
Oh, she said don't touch it. It's freezing. I agree with that. Bring my jacket. But as I stated at another meeting, that I blame the problems for the city, even everything. It falls on the city manager because the city manager was the one that was hired to oversee the staff, to oversee the accountant, to oversee public works, to oversee the whole thing. So I do place the blame on the situation that we're in now, or the condition we're in, on the city manager. And I guess my question still goes back to the same thing, and I guess you've already answered it as best you could, because I don't know, that wasn't a good answer, because it's still like you didn't have all the answers either. So I'm still just concerned about us giving that extra time. But within that time, from May of this year to next year, so far the condition, especially with the budget situation, we're kind of like a laughing stock up here right now. The city is sort of like a laughing stock, and seems like a lot of that, some of that just wasn't corrected. And so it still kind of falls on the city manager. I'm not, I guess, in the business of taking away anybody's livelihood. I'm not in the business of doing that. However, I am up here to serve the citizens of Archer, whether I fail at that or in good conscience, I just try to do the best job that I can. I always tell people, they say, well, why you don't do this? I say, listen, I still consider myself new. Even after 2 years, I'm still learning. But even in that process of still learning, I'm here to do the best job that I can possibly do with the knowledge that I have so far and yet learning. So, so looking back from May to now, as far as the budget and with what we have, when they said what it was, 29,000, that was a joke. It really is, and it just made all of us laugh. It's like everybody looking at us like the city commissioners is not doing your job because we're the one that oversees the manager, and then we don't feel like the manager was doing his job because we entrusted the job to you. So I guess I'm wondering if we tried to break that before May 1st, even though he's already saying he's going to resign. I just feel like our city manager put that date there, because you know that's the date we gave him, and he's already moved out of town. He's already where he wants to be, where he wants to reside after he retire. And I kind of feel like he set that date because that was the date that we gave him. So again, if we did try to break that, I guess again, I'm asking probably the same question. What are the legal, what would we be looking at?
So I think that there's a couple of things that we're talking about here. So we're talking about termination, we're talking about severance pay, and then we're also talking about vacation, sick leave, compensation.
And misconduct, the definition of misconduct.
Right. And the definition of misconduct sort of feeds into those things. So let me sort of give you your options generally when it comes to getting out of the contract. The first option is to remain in the contract until it ends. That's option one. Option two is at a regular commission meeting, so can't be tonight, with the full commission present, you all could terminate him for cause, and you would be required to pay his severance pay, but not his accrued leave time. Okay? Option three is what has been brought up tonight, which is terminating the contract for misconduct. If you terminate the contract for misconduct, that is when you are not required to pay the severance and you are not required to pay other leave. So that is sort of what we are talking about as your options. To the difference between for cause and misconduct, very generally speaking, is just the degree that we're talking about. So you can terminate someone for cause because they haven't met their job responsibilities. That would generally be considered for cause. Misconduct is what you have in front of you in the statute, which is failure to perform job responsibilities plus a something, plus it's chronic, plus it's intentional, plus it's gross negligence, plus a something factor, let's call it. So there's for cause, which is just generally fail to meet your job responsibilities, and then misconduct, which is that plus like an aggravating factor.
Okay.
And that's sort of the 10,000 foot view of what you all are looking at. So in terms of, if you're asking me what holds the least liability to the most liability for the city, least liability in terms of this contract alone is what I'm discussing, is option one, which is wait until May. Next least liability to the city is at a regular commission meeting with the full commission, terminate for cause. You pay the severance, but you don't pay the leave. And then most liability is termination for misconduct. You don't pay the severance and you don't pay the leave. So that's my analysis of that. I don't know that I can give you any more.
Okay, that was good, that was good. I guess the issues that I was bringing up, they'll probably fall under for cause.
How can we prove what is cause? Would be my question.
Well, for cause, generally speaking, is generally accepted to be, these are your job responsibilities, you have not performed your job responsibilities, therefore you're being terminated for cause. It's in contrast to, it's like the difference between being fired and being laid off. So without cause would just be just because we feel like it and you haven't really done anything. And then for cause is you've done something or haven't done something that you're supposed to do, and therefore termination.
Because this is hard for me. How can the commission discuss or we can't because of the sunshine law, what we feel is cause and reason to.
You would do it at a meeting?
A full meeting.
And,
A full meeting and agenda,
Okay.
but it can be done right now also. It can,
She
four
was-
calls, we can't vote on 4 calls without the full commission. But we can
misconduct.
discuss it.
The motion that you made is for.
Mine is misconduct, and I'm standing by it.
That's, Commissioner White, I'm just reiterating the motion that's on the floor.
Right.
For Robert's Rule of Order, and that's what's on the motion on the floor at this
Yes.
time, for misconduct.
Okay.
However, to explain 4 calls, it basically comes down to he's not doing his job. Correct?
Yes, generally speaking, either not doing something that he's required to do or doing something that he is prohibited from doing.
Yes. And it's been proven he's not doing his job. What is it gonna cost us? And I'm saying it's going over because we don't have an audit, we don't have a budget. What's that gonna cost us? And if that's not over and above not doing his job, then I don't know what would be. But, and I'm not asking you for an answer to that. However, I believe there is enough that Mr. Hammond has done and has cost us for misconduct. And I think we got good attorneys that could handle it.
What I would like to do is table it till October 14th, when the whole
No, 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 absolutely not.
oh. Okay.
You can for citizens' comments.
Okay. Okay. I can just,
If you have something to say, this is still commissioner
Okay.
discussion, and then we'll
Okay.
get to public comment
all right.
before we
Well,
do anything on any motion.
okay. We'll just,
Did you want to say something?
no, I'm done. Citizen comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Penny.
I don't know.
I do not live in Archer. I've lived within 3 miles of Archer for 50 years. This is my town, as much as it's anybody's town. My boys went to the schools, we did all the stuff. I support the motion, and I'll tell you why. The lawyer, who's a very good lawyer, said that you do open yourself to being challenged in a court. Well, people go to court every day. And the first line of defense is the judge. He says, no, go away. But I would further state that Mr. Hammond does not want to go to court and air out his record in all its bloody, glorious, foul details. I think if he's terminated, he'll take whatever he's got and head off to his retirement sooner than thought. Not that much sooner. I support the motion. Go ahead and terminate him and see what happens next. You know, if I were him, is he going to ruin his public reputation over $20,000 when he's already gotten whatever, 300,000 or 400,000 out of this city? I don't think so. I say do it. He's got to be gone. And furthermore, Miss Fiore is a professional, extremely capable and competent professional, and I'm sure she sat at the table with all kinds of trolls in her professional career. But should we kind of relieve her of the having to sit next to this troll while she fixes our city budget for us? I don't think so. I think it's the decent thing to do, to give her an open field and not have him sitting around making up excuses like he did earlier tonight. He had a hedge on everything that happened, and none of it smelled very good. Fletcher, you've employed people for many, many years and worked with lots of people. You could smell it like I do. So, you know, let's terminate him, clean house, and get on with the job of getting the city up and running again.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other citizen comment?
I agree, Roberto Lopez, that Mr. Hammond should be dismissed immediately and because of his conduct. I don't know if you can use emails as warnings. Can we use emails that we've sent him as warnings to his conduct and his?
Context matters. The context of who sent it, when it was sent, under what guise. I would need more than just emails to give you an answer to that.
You would need what?
I would need more than just the concept of it's an email.
Okay. Well, I can think of one in particular. Mr. Hammond forwarded an email to the city attorneys slandering my name like you would not believe. I do not know who told him that he needed to apologize to me in public, sitting right there. I have no idea which one of you or if the attorney gave him that information. But he had to apologize to me. At that particular time, just to keep peace in the city and with the commissioners, I said, okay, I'll accept your apology. But I actually could have gone to court and sued him for all this money he's been around here collecting from Archer. But I decided, no, I don't want to do that. I can just think of so many times we sat here and seen him yell at people, even the commissioners. I can think of the disrespect that he has had for our facilities in this community. For example, the Archer Community Center. We opened it in 2011, August 2nd. And since that time, we had not done anything, a lot of construction or corrections or anything to that building. Nothing. Then I had to fight with him since 2023 just to get him to take care of the termites in the building. I shouldn't have had to go through what I went through. I fought with him until I had to go to the United States Department of Agriculture to get some help. And yes, I can say I'm going to blame the commissioners for that, but no, I'm not. He was hired to run this city and to make sure that the operations of this city was done. And trust me, I have a lot of experience. I turned 86 yesterday. I worked in Washington, D.C., Tampa, and everywhere else in all kinds of places. Even the Hillsborough County Commission, I worked for them, as well as retiring from the Hillsborough County Department. So I know how this system works,
Madam
and I
Vice
know
Mayor, that's the 3 minutes.
I know what needs to be done. And I'm asking y'all right now to please just dismiss the man on conduct alone.
Thank you, Ms.
He
Lopez.
doesn't answer any of your questions.
Karen Fiore, I would remind this commission that I remember a commission meeting where the manager was being told that the performance needs to improve, and he promised that performance would be improved. I believe there was even a list of things that he said he was going to promise this commission he would accomplish. He also, when you're provided a raise and you decline it, you're obviously stating your understanding that your performance is probably not worthy of that raise. So right there, the performance, even his mind knows that it wasn't to the city manager quality that it's supposed to be. So he's acknowledged it. You've scolded him on this diocese. You've given him list of items to fulfill. It's not the first time this has been brought up.
Any other citizen comment?
Hi, Charles Tufano. I support Commissioner White's motion to dismiss Tony Hammond. I mean, he clearly, based on the facts that have been shown today, has gross negligence and shouldn't have any problem for us defending in that, should he decide to go to court. So please dismiss him so we can move forward. Thank you.
Bob Kosicki, citizen. So we could probably name off many things that have been brought up in the past, like coins being sold out of the office, and that stopped, and dogs running around, and that stopped. You know, so there's a lot of little things that went on and then stopped, because obviously that was not a good look anyways. And the guns, you know, being sold, those are not good things to be running out of the office, but obviously had been done. Grader. I remember asking him about the grader, you know. I understand I was talking about the roads and the dirt roads, and he says, oh yeah, we got a grader. I said, have you used it? Oh yeah. And then, well, it's broken. And then, no, it doesn't work for these roads. Well, why didn't you do that in the beginning? So that's another thing. You keep adding those things up, the list grows. Not one thing, but many things. So which one you want to pick out? Which things are you not happy with? Let's put it like that. Is there anything that you're not happy with? Or are you happy with everything?
Me?
No. Miss Penny?
I'm not
Vice
happy
Mayor.
with it. I'm not happy with everything.
Okay.
Okay.
Fletcher, I have heard nothing from you. Nothing at all about this.
Received the letter from Mr.
You-
We'll disclose after this motion is taken.
Okay. Sorry. It's just, if I'm asking everybody. Ms. Green, I appreciate you. Oh, okay.
And regarding his evaluation and performance, I was the commissioner that had 0 for recognition.
I had 0.
You had 0 as well. Thank you.
Me too.
No.
No,
No,
I had,
no, I
no.
I had
Other
0.
commissioners
I
had
had 1.
2, 1.
I had one.
No, I had 1.
Yeah, I was the commissioner that had 0. I was the commissioner, if you would like that disclosed, that gave him specific objectives not met and needed to be met.
Okay. I appreciate that,
Thank you.
Fletcher. Thank you.
Ms. Skinner?
Brenda Skinner. I'm sitting back there thinking, these wheels are just turning and turning and turning. And it's the same thing over and over and over again. You hear the same crap over and over and over again. Nothing's getting done. It's being asked over and over again, why? And we're getting the same answers. I don't know. Nobody seems to get any answers. I think it's time we moved on.
Any other public comments? Okay.
Let's fire the man and go home.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor. There is an option. There is one option. You can resign, and we'll all leave with good
That's
things.
not gonna happen.
Well, then my motion stands.
So we have a motion on the floor.
Unless there's additional commissioner comment, this would be the time for a vote.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Any additional comments from the commission?
For the record, would I have clarification for the motion, please?
The motion is, Deanna, the motion is to terminate the city manager's contract effective immediately on the grounds of Florida statute and misconduct.
Thank you.
May I have a second?
Oh, who's second?
Oh, yeah, second.
Okay, so it's any other discussion? Any other questions? Okay, so it's been Motioned by Commissioner White, second by Commissioner Green. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Whew. Aye. And all opposed?
Aye.
So it has been passed 3-1.
I'm good with that.
Madam Mayor,
I'd be real careful.
for record, I would like to disclose the letter that was given to us today,
Okay.
please. Stated 9/19/2024, it's to the full body of the commission from Mr. Charles A. Hammond. As you already know from our previous conversations on 9/16/2024, I have decided to retire from local government. After 30 years in the United States Navy and 28 years in local government, I feel it is time for me to retire. At Commissioner Hope's request, this is my official notification to you that May 12th, 2025 will be my last working day for the City of Archer. From the end of that day forward, I will no longer be the city manager of Archer. As with my retirement from the Navy, it is bittersweet feeling that I retire from local government. It has been a great pleasure to be alongside the City Commission and city staff of this organization, and I will always appreciate the experience and knowledge I gained during my time here. I will continue to work diligently and passionately for the Commission and the citizens, along with the city staff, for the betterment of Archer on all the ongoing projects as we move our great city forward. It is my recommendation that you do one of the following. One, hire a professional search firm and let them do the entire advertising, as well as initial review of the candidates who apply, and refer the top 5 to the dais for interview. Or two, develop an accurate and thorough job description with timelines, proposed benefits, and salaries, and place it on the ICMA and Florida City and County Manager's website. Whichever of these you choose, it should be done no later than February of 2025, with a hire date of mid-April, which will allow for an adequate transition. Again, I will truly miss working for the City of Archer and City Commission with the staff, and for the City of Archer as well. Again, I will continue to work diligently up until my final day. Sincerely, Charles Hammond. Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Before we adjourn, if it takes the full dais present, and legal, you can correct me, I think we need to immediately proceed as we've done in the past with the agenda of a defined job description review at our next meeting, as well as soon as we approve that, post it for ICMA.
We also need to, and this is going to take a motion, I'm sure, to appoint Deanna as our interim city manager, or we need an interim city manager.
You would need to appoint.
So I will make the motion to appoint Deanna as the interim city manager. We have also, and I need to, I'll go ahead with that.
If she would so accept that. We need to find out if she would so accept that.
Yes.
I will second that, Madam Vice Mayor.
Okay. So it's been motioned by Commissioner White that Deanna be interim, and second by Commissioner Hope. Any other commissioners?
Yes, I need to say that. We also had an offer, in the event we did do this in the near future, we had an offer from Mr. Lewandowski that if we needed him to help Deanna, he would gladly come in and help.
Commissioner White, Mrs. Altop has done this in the past before, and that's why I asked if she's willing to fill that role right now.
She just said
That
yes.
would be her decision to bring to us at the dais is my feelings.
I just was bringing it to you. to let
As,
you know.
as discussion also, I'd like to appropriately make sure that we compensate her at a differential rate that's acceptable to this dais and to Ms. Alta, as we've done in the past.
That would be the first order of business as an interim. Right.
Yes, that would be something that we would work with Deanna on.
I just want to make sure that we're clear that, as we've done in the past, because this is not the first rodeo ride for Ms. Alta.
Correct.
Sorry, put it that way. And the entire staff.
Okay. Any other commissioner comment? Any public comment?
Roberta Lopez. I know that you said effective immediately, so are there dates or times or anything on that?
It
Nope.
just happened.
It just happened.
happened.
Well, in that case, then I think the attorney should collect his keys and any other things that belong to this city. That's what I think.
I would have no idea what he has or doesn't have that belongs to the city.
He has keys to the city of Archer.
I believe that your staff would, Deanna would be more than capable of.
Well, in that case, then I don't care who does it. You don't have to do it. It can be Deanna, anybody. But that's what usually happens to ensure that we have all of our credit cards, passports, or whatever he may have. It needs to go, all the records or whatever need to go. Get Deanna to do it now. Because he could walk out that door and we'll never see him with all our stuff.
The accountant can,
You want me to explain it?
the cards, those,
Oh.
those could be.
So the cards can be turned off when I walk in there. The keys, I don't know that he really has keys other than we
There's a
will have to
code on
change
the
the
door.
door code. And his alarm code, which again, that's, Deanna can be doing that right now once it's,
Those codes can be changed.
yes, that's all before we leave here today can be done.
Thank you.
I don't remember what I was getting ready to say.
I know he's got a
This is so disrespectful to the comments coming from the public. While we're trying to discuss things.
I know he has a cell phone, I know he has a tablet, I don't know what's here. And other than that, I know we supplied those. I know he has the credit card.
And in the past, I was the personnel liaison when we had liaisons in the transition between city managers, and I collected those. That's not necessary to do, and it's an insult when you have to demand it from the exiting manager, whether it's cause, misconduct, or just a transition. It has never, in my 15 years here, been pleasant. So, therefore, we will take action to secure what we need to secure. And we have an ASO office blocks away to assist us with that if we need to.
I mean, I'm home all the time, I don't mind doing it, but I'm gonna do it with an officer.
Okay.
He doesn't have a lot here, so that's what I'm trying to say. It's, I don't think. And staff can assist with it.
The iPad, unless he's on at a conference, is always here, and the phone is too. The keys, I think it's just one or two. He doesn't have keys to everything. He never did. And the card stays here in his desk. So, again, it's a matter of walking in there and just turning it off, just like you would your own card.
And we only have 2 cards out now, right? His and Deanna's.
No, I have one.
Yours was supposed to be turned in also.
I never knew that.
It was, Commissioner Hope made the motion.
I
You're
just wanna
welcome
make sure
to
that
it.
we-
I don't have a problem with it.
I just want to make sure that we stay on the motion. I don't want us to
Okay,
get,
yeah,
we're getting a little laywayed.
okay.
Gotcha.
So all in,
Thank you, sir.
Would you repeat your motion, please?
To, ask, Deanna to be the interim city manager. I don't know if I
And he
word it more
seconded. Okay, and then we did all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that passed 4-0. Any other thing we need to discuss?
That'll get you through to your next meeting. We'll work with Deanna.
It'll be October the 11th or 14th?
14th?
September 30th.
Oh, September 30th for your budget hearing, yes.
Okay, I apologize.
Next regular meeting on the
We'll
14th.
see y'all September the 30th at 6 o'clock here. Okay.
And who is going to, I'm sorry, who will work with Deanna on compensation?
Our office, and then we will
Okay.
come back to you all. We'll provide you with a sample contract.
Because
Okay.
again, she's done this before, so that's the baseline reference that I was,
Right.
and then whatever the cost of living increases would be and whether she would accept that.
Right, that's where we'll use for a starting point.
Okay.
Just to be fair.
Obviously, to be presented to you all and approved and all that
And
good
I know,
stuff.
Kirsten, and you can tell,
I'm sorry, I can't really hear you very well.
I said, I'm sorry, and you can tell Frozen Walker, I'm sorry, but I firmly believe that you can take care of this.
Meeting's adjourned.
I believe there's one more public comment period.
Public comment.
It is.
Linda Kosicki, citizen. I do have to admit, Tony did help us with my mother-in-law's house, and we appreciate that. That's the only positive thing I can say.
We helped us with what? I'm sorry.
He helped with my mother-in-law's house.
Yes.
She lived in it 1 year and 6 months. She's gone. The house will soon be gone also. So that part of our life is now over, and Tony did help us with that. But that is the only positive thing I can say about this man. And he might have tried, but he treated my daughter horribly. And I hope everybody on YouTube is hearing that. Goodbye, Tony.
Hi, Charles Stefano. I would like to also offer my services voluntarily to help Deanna out. I'm 30 years retired, purchasing manager, product manager. I have a background in sourcing, a minor in accounting. So if you guys, if she needs help, she can call me.
Thank you,
Deanna's
sir.
pretty much run the city for the last 4 years,
I
so.
bet, so,
Yeah.
I bet. Well, even if she needs me to run for whatever, I'll send her my phone number.
Any other public comment? Any other?
I would like to, but I'm not a citizen of ours.
Come on, it don't matter.
My mom left though. I don't want to do it without her here.
Come on,
It's okay. It's okay.
come on,
I'm all right. She left. I don't want to do it
She's
without her.
out there talking.
She's out there talking.
She's out there talking.
I appreciate what all of you do up here on this dais, and I respect what you do. And I just want to say, I don't even live here, and I just came with my mother to support her. And just hearing what has been going on for the past years, I even just thought it was a hot mess. So I just wanted to say that. And when Mr. Hammond came on board, I had a personal experience with Mr. Hammond. My mom was turning 80. I asked for him to create, she's 86 now, so that was 6 years ago. I called Mr. Hammond, I said, my mom's turning 80. Mr. Hope did the catering, and it was beautiful, wonderful. We had a beautiful, wonderful celebration for my mom's 80th. And I said, Mr. Hammond, I want to do a proclamation for my mother. I provided him with a bio, a resume, picture, everything he needed. When it came back to me, it was in disarray. And I said, Mr. Hammond, this is not what I sent over. It was totally redone. And I said, do you need for me to help you? I mean, I'd be happy to, because I write, I do that as a profession. And he said, yeah, send it back to me. So I rewrote it again, and I sent it back. And it's still, I could not read it at my mother's party. So I had my own personal experience, and I don't even live here. So I'm glad that you all had the courage to do what you did today, because I see how he's affecting the citizens of Archer, not because of my personal experience. I can live with that, because I know who I am. So I just wanted to say that.
She said no. I know. That's my twin. Your twin.
Leave my mama alone.
Y'all have messed with me enough, so just stay off my back. That's what my mama used to say, and guess what else she would add to that? And he ain't crazy about pretty.
Good night. Nice seeing you all.
Meeting adjourned at 8:25.
You didn't let Commissioner White, don't have to use your microphone.
I'm getting better. I am